Welcome everyone to our talk of first talk of the year, talk for January. I was tasked with the responsibility of speaking a little bit about the the classic setting of intention for the new year. I think we all, in one way or another, do it. It's part of the ritual of passage of each coming year. But I would like today to give a little bit of a twist on this perception of wishes. So let's see how it goes. Now, first of all, Happy New Year to all of you. I really hope for the best of all of us humans. It has been, I suppose you would agree, has been some challenging times since probably 2020 or so. Has been challenging. I try to give some relief to my mind by considering that every time in the history has been to a certain extent challenging. If you speak to anyone that is older, for example, let's say on their 80s or 90s, if you happen to meet someone and if you ask how was your life, they probably have plenty of stories of times that are extremely challenging and even maybe life-threatening or economical economical political unrest. So this has been part of the human history. So I try to give some comfort to my mind by considering that it's not maybe so much of a special period because every period has its own challenges. But in any case, it does look like we are facing some pretty new challenges for humans, and then might be interesting to see how we can tackle them utilizing some of the ancient ideas or ancient approaches, and that's what I'll try to bring to the table today. Now, the first thing that I would like to speak about is precisely these times that we are engaging with. Once more, they do feel us with certain level of uneasiness because nowadays also the issues that we face, they're not so restricted to countries, they're kind of global issues. We do, if you speak to most people, they all agree we face economic situations in every country, so pressing, stressful times in terms of economic, of money and living standards decaying and so on. We live pressing times in terms of stress, just general stress. Most people would complain that they feel they have not enough time, they don't feel like they can, live a good life. They're always pressed, they're always on the run, they're always squeezed by time and life. We have the rising threat of technology kind of overcoming what we feel as to be a human, what it's like to be part of nature. So we have these new ideas and new developments, which also makes us consider what would be the future like in case we have this AI and these machines taking over a lot of what we used to perceive as being alive. And we also have certain pressures in terms of identity. So many things that we used to have more certain. Again, if you speak to older people, things such as country, such as religion, even the discussions on gender, like what constitutes a human being, an individual. So we have all these pressures, we have all these challenges to face. Another challenge that is very clear right now is the challenge of attention. So all these things, and especially now we enter in the realm of technology, the modern time, all the things nowadays, they're kind of calling for your attention. They are pulling your attention. So there's a little bit of a challenge nowadays that I perceive in myself, and I can see from other people that I meet. And I'm fortunate enough to meet a lot of people due to my work. There's this pressing sense that time is slipping off and attention is slipping off. So we cannot hold anymore into things. There's this feeling of everything being dragged out of our capacity to hold that is felt on the mind itself. So the incapacity to stay with something with your attention. And that is felt also again in the social scenario of things being kind of disrupted. So whatever it is you used to feel as something stable, as something that I could count on, it feels like these things are crumbling. So the attention is crumbling, attention is being dissolved, or the capacity to hold attention. And then the supports that we used to have for a good life, or at least for the aim of a good life, they're also kind of crumbling. Now, this challenge of attention, one thing that we have to consider regarding it is that for this new year, I do think we should start to consider attention as a limited resource. We do think that we can kind of take everything on board in terms of the mind. But the first point I'd like to raise is for this new year to take attention as, again, as a limited resource. You don't have the capacity to pay attention to everything. And we as humans in our development, we have never been pressed to pay attention to too many things. So that's the first point I'd like to remember for today, is the idea of attention being a limited resource. Just like everything else, like material things, there's a limit to what you can take from the earth. To the same extent, in terms of your mind, there's a limit to how much attention your mind can uphold, or how much attention is available for you during your life. With this understanding that attention is limited, I would say that for this time that we are living, instead of making wishes for how things should be, so I would like my life to be in such a way, or I would like to that for that good thing to happen to me, or I would like for that expectation, that dream to come true. Or on the opposite, I would like on this new year for that not to happen. I would like on this new year for that which I'm afraid of not to happen. So this classic, which was part again of the New Year ritual, this classic wish fulfilling ideal, the hope for someone, be it God or the universe or life or whoever, to listen to me and bring about this that I'm hoping for, that I'm wishing for. My suggestion would be, considering the threats that we are facing nowadays, what if we change from applying our energy and expectation into this wish fulfilling well, like throwing a coin and wishing for something? What if we use this year to address the source of those wishes, the source of those dreams, the source of those fears, the source of those expectations, which is the mind itself? So my proposition for a good new year is, instead of directing your attention outwards to how you can solve this mess that we are facing, either in terms of our own personal lives or in terms of the world as a society at large and so on, as humanity, what if you use this year to turn the attention to the mind itself? Because in the end, whatever it is that you wish for, whatever it is that you hope for, whatever it is that you dream of, whatever it is that you're afraid of, the place of experience of that and the root of it, where it's born, it's on your own mind. Okay, so that's the ground, that's the breeding ground, that's the original ground of your experience of living. So instead of making it secondary, let's say, that I hope for the world to change, or I hope for circumstances to be set in a way that then I can have a sense of fulfillment, or a sense of easiness, or a sense of peace, or a sense of attention, or a sense of calmness, or a sense of love, whatever it is that you're wishing for. What if instead of transferring this attention outwards, towards the world, with these expectations, if I use that energy and that intention for my own mind, to start to look into my own mind, to perceive my own mind, to know my own mind, to know myself. So for this new year, what I've been considering, it would be the wish to be done is for us to develop, initially at least, more mindfulness. I think that's, on my perception, would be the best wish that you can have for nowadays. Because once more, it does feel like there are many big things beyond individual control. And then you have this little thing, or seems little, that's your mind, which, because it's so near to you, is the base of your experience of reality. Maybe you have some leverage over it. So the first practice that I would suggest for people to try to develop on this new year is mindfulness. Now, how can you do it? Classically speaking, the first thing that is the easiest place for mindfulness is the body, even before the mind itself. You all probably have felt it when you have tried to do meditation. Let's say you went to a retreat or you tried to practice by yourself at home or you went to a meditation group. Tackling the mind with the mind itself is not a very easy development. It's not an easy thing. So one one procedure that will facilitate it is to start this concept of knowing yourself by placing more attention to your own body. Classically, for example, in the Buddhist tradition, they'll talk about mindfulness of the four positions. So mindfulness of walking, mindfulness of standing, mindfulness of sitting, mindfulness of lying down. The idea behind it is to constantly remember to perceive the body, to constantly be with the body, to know the effort of each position, to know the relaxation of each position, so to know the condition, the physical condition of the body. This has many benefits. One, of course, is the sense of presence. And kind of on the sidetrack of what I was speaking before of this new world that we're living, it also will ground you on the sense of being alive, of being a human, of having a body. So that will be the first step on this pathway of mindfulness, to start to work with the body. I always felt that as a humble opinion, one mistake sometimes when people do meditation retreats is that they go straight away towards the mind. So they try to learn how to experience the mind or to control the mind, to direct the mind by focusing on the mind itself. And then it'll be something on the guidelines of, well, just sit and watch your mind or sit and perceive. I do think it's an easier approach for most people, and it's a more continuous approach as well, to actually use the body primarily as the source of attention. So to learn how to perceive, to learn how to sense via the body. So that'll be step one. Can I remain throughout this year with more perception of my own body? When you start to sense your body more closely, you basically start to experience the duality of the body, which is having a body means there is comfort and there is also discomfort. There's easiness and also uneasiness. And this is in every posture. When you sit for meditation, you're going to experience discomfort. But also, if you walk for long enough, there'll be discomfort. If you stand for long enough, there'll be discomfort. And even if you lie down for long enough, there'll be discomfort. So the first encounter you're actually going to have by experiencing your body is the duality of the body. There's always some level of comfort. And in general, there will be some level of discomfort as well. So then the second step of this mindfulness of the body is, can I learn how to be at ease with discomfort? I'm not a believer that anyone really can just eradicate pain from the body. I think that's an illusion, and that's a very modern illusion. Like treating the body as a computer. If I just take all the right supplements, if I just do the right amount of exercise, if I just, I don't know, whatever people are doing, if I just optimize my body, if my watch tells me exactly how much to sleep, when to sleep, what posture to sleep, then I will not experience discomfort anymore. I do think that's an illusion. And the only way to overcome it is if one day again we become just computers. But that's something I'm not very much looking forward to. So if you're also not looking forward for that to become a cyborg, then you have to learn how to deal with existence itself in a body, which means some level of discomfort. So this second step is, can I sense my body, perceive my body, and learn how to be with it within this duality of comfort and discomfort? The third step would be, once you accept discomfort, then yes, you might be able to reduce discomfort. It's It's a little bit, for sure, you all have had this scenario or circumstance in which you had a difficult circumstance, something bad was happening, and you're going all crazy about it, and you're getting all stressed about it. And then someone said, or your mind told you, like, look, just accept it. It is the circumstance you are in, kind of take a breath, not because you're trying to escape it, but because you are in it. So you take it as it is and you work under the circumstances. And then probably once that thought and that feeling has established itself in you, then you notice that the amount of suffering that that circumstance was causing reduces. So this training of the mind being more neutral regarding the body, it's very fulfilling to actually reduce discomfort. It doesn't mean there will be zero discomfort. It doesn't mean you're always going to be pain free, but it does mean that through the acceptance and then the reduction of the stress that is being built on top of the scenario or the experience, that reduction of this overloading in itself reduces the load of discomfort and stress. So that would be step number 3. On this step 2 and 3, it's very useful to use modalities of movement that train this capacity. For example, yoga or any other physical exercise that builds this attention to the body and the learning on how to see discomfort and comfort, how to experience that clearly on the body. So here comes the usage of yoga or body practices for mental training. If you are in a yoga posture, for example, and you have to have this interoception, so sensing what it's like to be on that posture. Where is the tension? Where is the relaxation? Where is the effort? Where is the easiness? In a way, if you continue to do it, that's the capacity you're building, mentally speaking, for everything. So yoga and other physical modalities that have that input will aid in this process of developing mindfulness. So again, once more, step 1 is the wish to develop mindfulness. Step 2 will be to start to notice, to be with the body throughout day-to-day living. Number 3 is, now that I am with the body, I notice the duality of the body, the discomfort and comfort. I accept it. I don't try to create a case out of it, as if I'm apart from nature, as if somehow I'm shielded from discomfort. So I try to develop this neutrality, this equanimity regarding the body. From those 2, then through acceptance, the discomfort of the body will actually start to reduce. What will happen when the body starts to relax is the mind, the experience that you have as the mind, so thoughts, the sense of self, the sense of attention, will feel more comfortable to reside on the body, to be with the body. And the body is the vehicle for presence. Like to be alive is to be embodied. So through the easiness of the body and the mind perceiving the body with this neutrality, it becomes more interesting and it becomes more comfortable to be housed in the body, to be within the body. So the relaxation of the physical system also brings the mind down, let's say. It connects, it wants to stay with the body. Once this process is established, now you have the good ground for meditation to develop, for meditation to sprout. So you see, the point that I'm trying to make here is, if you're planning this year to develop this mindfulness and meditation, start with the body. Not because you want to control the body, but because you want to make peace with the duality of the body, the comfort and the discomfort of the body. By doing that, it will relax. Once you start to relax, it feels more comfortable to be with the body. As you are more and more with the body, it will feel more comfortable, more interesting. You are looking to be alive. So the mind will escape less. From that, then you can develop meditation. From that, it goes on. So this would be my first suggestion for this new year. See if you can make this pathway. Go towards your own mind, but go towards your own mind via the body. Now, the second thing I thought of talking today is, again, regarding the circumstances that we are living and seeing reality as it is without, let's say, escapism or daydreaming. I do think it's a time we need some discipline because there's all these things competing for your attention, all these things taking over your attention, pulling you in different directions. That process of mindfulness will help, the process of meditation will help, but you most probably will need to take a moment to establish some discipline. I have seen, again, through working with people, that even some folks from other generations that are even before technology, they are completely hooked on it, into it. They're also into it very much. So they feel like young people to me. We're all on that, on the same boat, being carried over. Under these circumstances, I think it's probably interesting to treat ourselves as children again and establish some limits. I am slightly worried about where this whole thing is going to take us. The destruction of our capacity of self-perception, of being with the body, and the destruction of the capacity of sustaining attention, of being with something. So maybe it's time now. We had enough of playing with technology to know the dangers of it, to lose maybe the allure of it, which we had a few decades ago of this is something new that is going to save us, it's going to be just better times and better times. I think that time is over by now. The golden age of expectation has settled, and we have to face reality. On this reality that we are facing, we have to establish some boundaries, and they have to most probably come by ourselves. So what I mean by boundaries is maybe structure a day on how you're going to use your attention throughout the day. The things that we are playing with nowadays, they're in general stronger than us. We think we can control how much time we're going to spend on certain things. We think we can control, again, we feel as adults, like I know how much of it I can do, but we know by now, even through science itself, that that's not the case. Those things are more powerful than us. So might be time then to establish boundaries. The same way you'd protect a child from doing things that are wrong because the child cannot see yet that the consequences or the harm that lies in the future. Regarding attention, we should treat ourselves as children and again establish some limits. So for example, I'm not against technology like social media or watching a movie or having fun or maybe your work use that as well. So it's part of your day-to-day living, but establish some windows for it. Have a sense of discipline. Have maybe a time that you allocate for yourself. The same way you do as a child. I remember my parents when I was young, they used to say, okay, you finish your homework, now you can play from 5 p.m. until 8. And then by 9:30 you have to be sleeping. I don't think I was that happy when they were doing that to me, but now I appreciate it because I have learned how to sleep early. That's has been very good to me. So I'm thankful for my parents for doing that. And of course, as a child, I didn't know what they were doing. I didn't understand it, but it was right. And what they were doing is they were setting limits upon things that were beyond my capacity. As a child, as growing, as developing my mind, I was developing patterns. I was developing tendencies. So they're caring for it. They're establishing the limitations of it and the direction of it. I think it's time for us to do that as well. Establish some limits and then treat your attention as a limited resource. You don't have endless attention. And then the biggest training you can do, the true training for attention is meditation. To hype up meditation even a little bit more of everything that you can do that people label as mental training. I think the only thing that really addresses the mind itself, which I'll define here as the capacity of attention, of perception, of knowing what it is that you're doing. The only thing that really addresses the mind as such is meditation. Everything else that people talk as mental training is normally adding more things to the mind, like knowledge. Well, I learn more, I learn another language. That's adding more stuff to the mind. That's not precisely training you how to see the mind or how to understand the background of the mind, of pure attention. Or even if you think of things like people do coaching or mental development, like mental development workshops people do in companies, or they're also adding things to the mind. They're piling up a little bit more concepts into your perception of the world. Meditation is the only one that tells you, look, at least momentarily, drop everything that is over the mind, over your attention, and try to regain that zero ground attention, like that sense of being, that sense of pure perception, that sense of pure awareness. Meditation is really the only thing that I have seen that train that. Everything else is just addition. Not that it doesn't have a place. Of course it does. But it's not a complete picture. And once more, we are already loaded with things. Never in the history of humankind we ever had the opportunity of having so many things to add to our mind. You can study almost anything, really. So the challenge for nowadays is not anymore what else can I add, is can I trace back, and at least for some period of time, can I have nothing on top of my mind? Can I have a sense of purity, a sense of peace? Because that reduction of baggage, of loading on the mind, it is a definition of peace. And there's a sense of easiness, there's a sense of lightness. So meditation is the way forward for it. And on my perspective, it is the balancing quality for modern life, which is about addition. It's about what else can I do? What else can I know? What else can I develop? So meditation will balance those tendencies. Then once you have this development of mindfulness and meditation, which will give you this more structured, more balanced experience of living, this counter from all the modern adding things. Now, meditation will give you the base, meditation will give the easiness, meditation will give the zero. Once you have this balance, my suggestion maybe for this year is try to be good at one thing instead of trying to be good at many things. This happens to me as well. And again, it's happening on my perspective to everyone. So select one thing and try to understand it better. Because even meditation, so many people talk about meditation nowadays. And then I ask them, well, how long have you been practicing? They say, well, I do 2 times a week. But last week I didn't do, too busy. And then last month was difficult month. And I didn't do that much. Then if I ask, well, but what are you practicing? What is the technique? They're also not very sure because maybe they didn't study that much, that technique, or maybe they've been doing window shopping, trying different techniques. They didn't stay with one thing. That's a symptom of nowadays. And my suggestion is try to be good at something. If you choose meditation, take one technique or two techniques in the sea of options and try to be good at it. First, understand it. If I ask you, what is it that you're practicing? Be able to describe it. Show me that you understand it. What's the concept of it? What is the progression of it? Where do you want to get with it? Have some understanding of it. And then focus on the practice. Do it more. Like children. If you have children, you want your children to be good at whatever it is that they want to do. So you tell them, no, you have to do it. You have to go to class. You have to devote a few hours. And you know that is going to be good for them on the long run. So once more, let's treat ourselves as children. See something that is worth of doing, that is beneficial to you, and most probably be for others as well, because if you feel better, if you feel more peaceful, if you feel more stable, it will be beneficial for everyone around you. So then choose something and stick with it. And then do that one thing. Be good at it. Know it. Only that. So if you're planning to do this development of meditation, again, instead of wishing for far things, come back home. Come back to your mind. The world is very confusing. The world is very large also, no? And it's getting more problematic. The boundaries are being expanded and expanded and expanded. So there's a lot of things to worry about. So come back home, practice meditation, but then choose to be good at it. Or maybe choose 2 things or 3 things, but focus. Devote time and attention to it so that you can know it and then reap the benefits. Sometimes I see people talking about meditation. They say, well, when I can, I do 5 minutes. Tell me one thing in this world that you get good at by doing 5 minutes. There's nothing. Nothing you get good at doing 5 minutes. Let's say you are, whatever profession you do, you are an engineer. And then I say, I would like to understand some engineering. Then you say, good. So study engineering. Say, okay, I'll do 5 minutes per day. Maybe in 3 lifetimes. Maybe you can get there. A little bit more. A little bit more. Apply effort. Life is limited, no? So, and time has the sense of sleeping. So train your attention, train your body to be present. There'll be more sense of living. Time will not escape so much because you're present. And then for this meditation development, give a little bit more effort. Again, to pay off. It's the only thing that will train that capacity of mind that I'm speaking of. Everything else is just addition to the mind. It's not really training how to see the mind itself. It's a special thing, especially for humans. That's the gold for humans, to know itself, to know ourselves. So maybe 20 minutes, that would be my suggestion. I used to be more relaxed, and I used to tell people, yeah, 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 2 minutes, whatever. But then through experience, I realized whoever comes to the table with this 5 minute idea don't go very far. They quickly stop because they never understood it properly. It was not enough. It was not enough. So I have changed to be slightly more strict. 20 minutes. It's not 1 hour, 20 minutes. So try 20 minutes. If you can every day, 20 minutes. Then to aid you on this pathway, another suggestion that I give to you is for this practice of meditation, make it, that's an old school idea, and I think it's helpful. Make it a little bit ritualistic. Make it special. Like, for example, if you want someone to feel good, if you want for someone to have a pleasant experience of a dinner, for example, you don't just put the food on the oven and serve on the Tupperware, no, the plastic container. You set the table, you make it look nice, you get a nice plate, you cook the food fresh. Let's say you like someone, you make that normal experience of eating, just eating in the end, just filling the belly. But because of everything that is around, it feels special. Because if you look at cold, in a cold manner, it's just eating. If you take your lover to Michelin star restaurant, or if you take your lover to Taco Bell's, in the end, it's just food. Belly is getting full, nutrients are going to the body, and that person will have a few more days to carry on. Because there's some nutrition, some calories to burn. If you see it on that way, it's just food, makes no difference. But it's obvious that each place is different. Why? Because of everything else. Not about the practice itself of eating, but everything that comes along with it. The place, the cleanliness, the taste, the music, the conversation, whatever. Everything else makes it special. It's the same thing, eating, but the circumstance transforms it. Now, if you're planning to have something special in this year, some practice that you're looking to do, make it a little bit special. If you're planning to have meditation, for example, as a development, as something that one of those two things you're planning to be good at, not many, just a few, make it a little bit special that moment. Have a special place for meditation, a special corner. Have an altar there. I don't mean that you have to be religious. If you are religious, have an altar at the corner of your house, or if you have a big house, have a room only for it. Put some statue of whatever you believe it's good, or put a photograph or a rock or feather, whatever. When you enter that, when you see that, it gives you a good feeling. It makes that corner or that place special. So don't do it randomly. Treat it as you treat like someone that you like. You have to make a little bit of an effort to continue that likeness. So for any practice that you're trying to sustain on this coming year, make it a little bit special. Think of a ritual for it, a way to start, a way to end. Apart from making it special, try to have a sense of regularity. Again, like children. In general, it helps with children not to let them lose in terms of time, because they won't have the capacity to have regularity by themselves. So then you tell the child, at 6 o'clock, you have to be here. And then you practice it with the child. So it becomes a habit. Because I think we have, in certain spheres of our life, irrespective of age, we have to treat ourselves nowadays as children. Do that as well. Have a sense of regularity. Whatever it is that you want to develop on this year, do it at the same time. And do it for the same duration if possible. Do it at the same days. Even I would say normally for yoga, as a yoga teacher, I still recommend to people, unless you're really a skilled practitioner, you've been doing that for a long time and it's settled in your life, like go to classes, go to group classes. It's beneficial because it gives you the sense of discipline. Because if it's a group class, that means there's a set time and you have to be ready for that time, otherwise you don't join. And that's good. Because then if your class at 6, by 5, you have to consider how you're going to get there. You have to change your clothes. You have to prepare yourself. Then you have the social thing. You have to put some deodorant, some perfume. You cannot smell. You have to look nice. You have to talk to people. All that's part of the ritual. It forces you to be present and pay attention. Now, if you try to have your own practice at home all the time, then yeah, maybe not now, maybe later. You lose all the ritualistic. And we are doing that to everything. No? We are doing that to work by working remotely. We are doing that to sleep. We are doing that to how we relate to people. We are doing that to everything. No wonder everything is dissolving and breaking apart. And we feel kind of, where am I? So if you're planning to have something to do, make it ritualistic. And in general, group social helps. So whatever it is that you can do with other people, in general, it helps. It will demand certain aspects of your attention. Attention on timing, attention on regularity, attention on behavior, attention of emotional regulation. All this is excellent. It's a challenge, it's annoying sometimes, but it's excellent. You can be good at it. You can get better at it. So that would be a suggestion. Make it slightly ritualistic. When I say ritualistic, that doesn't mean it has to be religious. It has a beginning, it has a middle, it has an end. And because of that, it needs preparation. And it helps to sustain. Now, the last thing for today that I would suggest is maybe, with all the craziness of the world, maybe what we can do in the end is focus on building a good home. Might be time for us to go back to a village mindset. I don't mean that you have to live in a village, but to a more village-like mindset. We had a few decades now of globalization, and we can't escape it. I'm also like a citizen of the world. Travel to other countries. We are all speaking in English here, and we want to read about some other country, or you want to taste food from other country, no problem. I don't think you can escape it anymore. It's just part of life nowadays. But maybe we had enough time to realize that also we lost a few things in the process, which was that classic part of human nature of a village feel to existence. What I mean by village view of existence is your attention is more geared towards your close surroundings. So paying attention to your house, paying attention to your neighbors, paying attention to your family, paying attention to your body, paying attention to your mind, and working on those closed scenarios instead of being so bothered about things that are very far that really just exist on your mind because you're not really embodied there. So I suggest might be time to continue in a globalized world with a village heart. Build what's near to you. Focus on what's near to you. Have this close attention. It's also included in the mindfulness perception of being present, of being embodied. There's a quote I saw this year, which I enjoyed very much, that was live large and dream small. I really liked it, because I always heard of dream big, dream big. Maybe, what about if this year you dream small? Why not? Dream small, small things that you can actually do. But I like that it say dream small, but live large. And I said, it clicked to me. I said, yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. The dream is small, but the experience might be enlarged because it'll be a more present experience, be a more real experience. Nowadays, you have this conflict of what's real or not. So, well, you want to be in a real experience, be in the body. Discomfort, comfort, the emotions, the feelings, the mental stuff, be in the body. And then live large, because it is large, no? If you start to explore the mind and existence, yourself is quite an interesting thing to explore. You don't have to go very far to have some interesting life. So dream small. Go back to the village dream. Like the village dream is what? To have a good house, to have a good family, to have a few good friends, to eat, to have a good sleep. No, dream small. Maybe it's time to go back to a little bit of that instead of being stimulated to dream big and then not really experiencing it. And then it's just fantasy and fantasy and fantasy and fantasy and wish and wish and wish. And time feels like running out because those dreams are never really present. So make it small, make something that you can see, that you can touch, that you can manage, that you can change, that you can engage with. So that'll be my end quote. Maybe live large, but dream small. And a few books that I have read recently, if you're interested in that, I would suggest. There's a very nice, it's slightly old now, the book, but it's by Michael Pollan. It's called In Defense of Food. In my opinion, it's the best book ever written about nutrition because it's kind of against nutrition. So it's called In Defense of Food. His premise is in this world that everything is mechanical, mathematical, and computed. So nutrition has entered that as well. Now we calculate the nutrients, we calculate the protein, the carbohydrates, the fat, and it's anyway, every 10 years it changes, so it makes us even more confused, but the calculations are supposed to be done and the watch can track for you and everything. And that book was even before AI and all that, so getting worse. But on that book, was really nice. He says, why we don't go back to the food being a cultural experience and food being a social experience? There was a time that the eating time was the time together to break bread. like in the Christian tradition, to break bread together and to share the wine together, the communion. Food is the vehicle for it, for social existence. So anyway, that's one of the premise of the book, which was really interesting. It's a book about nutrition, but same kind of look, relax. Go back to food as part of being alive, part of human existence, not just about perpetuating a imaginary bar of health that you can keep pushing up and up and up. I'll never get sick. I'll always be powerful. Relax. Go back to eating food and enjoying and having a social time. So that was one book that was interesting. And if you want to delve a little bit deeper into this idea of this challenge between organic existence and machine existence, there is an interesting book called Against the Machine by Paul Kingsnorth, if I'm not mistaken. He's English, I believe, or Irish, and has interesting perspectives, even maybe if I don't agree with everything, but has interesting perspectives. Can be a good read on maybe where we are going as humans and these challenges of being present, of being body, of still experiencing life as an organic experience, and then the pressures of technology and the pressures of machine, which is taking our mind and even taking our bodies. So for me, it was also an interesting read and go a little bit in line of what I was trying to speak here. Even this quote, "The live large, dream small," was actually from that book. If you have any question, this will be the time. I think, as usual, exploded my allocated time, my supposed allocated time. But if any of you have any question, this will be the time. All right. So thank you for joining. If at any point you have another question or anything else you'd like to discuss, feel free to contact me, contact us, Plantation Villa, to be posted on YouTube, and also comment there. So thank you very much for joining, and I do wish well for everyone and every human that is more peaceful, every human that is more present, every human that is more human. It's a aid, it's a help in a world that is getting more and more fragmented. So to be whole, to be present, to be fully human might be the direction we might have to move. So thank you very much and wish you a great year.